Welcome. In today's session, we are going to look at the thyroid gland, and by the end of this session, you should state the functions of the thyroid gland. You should also describe the histology of the thyroid gland, and we look at some clinical correlations relating to the thyroid gland. Welcome all. My name is Wallace Monyere, and I'm the Ure Daktari. So let's start. Thyroid gland. Thyroid gland usually lie in the lower part of the front and the sides of the neck. It usually consists of right and left lobes that are usually joined by an isthmus. Okay, it usually weigh about 20 to 30 grams, being larger in females than in males. And in females, it usually increases during menstruation and pregnancy. Now, this is embryology, which I've done I've done a video on the embryology of the thyroid gland, but just an overview. The follicles of the thyroid gland usually originate from the thyroglosal duct, which is of endodermal in origin, and the parafollicular cells originate from the ultimobranchial body. Okay. Now, thyroid gland is unique, unlike the other endocrine glands, which store their secretions in secretory granules within the cell. This one usually store hormone, which is bound to an extracellular protein. So they store their hormone extracellularly. Okay, that is one unique thing about thyroid gland. So here we are. This is the thyroid gland here. You can see this is the right lobe, left lobe. This is the isthmus here. Okay, here we are. The same here. Here, right lobe, left, and isthmus. The same here, right, left, isthmus. Then this might, some people have this pyramidal lobe, okay, which is shows the proliferation, which is the remnant of the proliferation of the endodermal cells of the thyroglosal duct. Remember, the thyroglosal duct originated from the floor of the tongue. Okay. So function. It usually secretes T3 and T4. T3 meaning triiodothyronine, T4 meaning tetraiodothyronine or thyroxine, and calcitonin hormones. So T3 or stroke T4 hormones control metabolic rate of the body. Now, in fetal life and in early childhood, thyroid hormone is thyroid hormones, that is T3 and T4. They promote the development of the central nervous system and the growth. Now, calcitonin lowers the blood calcium level. So calcitonin is antagonistic to the parathyroid hormone, in that calcitonin lowers serum calcium levels. How does it lower? By increasing the calcium deposition in the bones. Okay, so it increases the activity of the osteoblast and inhibits the activity of the osteoclast. Okay, so it inhibits bone resorption by osteoclast and promotes bone deposition by osteoblast. Please remember that. Thyroid gland is the only endocrine gland that stores its secretions extracellularly. Remember that. T3 triiodothyronine is 5 times more active than T4, but thyroid gland produces its secretion over 90% is T4. Okay, but once it reaches its site, such as the liver and the kidney, it is deiodinated. We remove one iodine molecule from T4, we get T3. So T3 is the one which is now more active, 5 times more active. Please remember that. Now, histology of the thyroid gland. Now, remember, when we discuss the histology of any gland, one should describe the histological organization of both the stroma and the parenchyma. Stroma refers to the connective tissue framework that usually support the parenchyma. Now, parenchyma is the functional component. Now, thyroid gland produces hormones triiodothyronine T3 and thyroxine or tetraiodothyronine T4 that usually influence the basal metabolic rate and protein synthesis. Also, it produces another hormone known as calcitonin. Okay, those are the 3 hormones. Here we are now. This is the stroma, refers to the capsule. This is the capsule here. and you can see the capsule is sending in the trabeculi or the septa to lobulate the gland. Okay, so here you can see a lobule, the one I'm trying to encircle, the one that is surrounded by the septa, that is a lobule. Now within those lobules, that is where you find the parenchyma. So this is the capsule here, the capsule, and it is sending in trabeculi. So the capsule is a thin layer of connective tissue. Now trabeculi, there is the connective tissue which extend inward from the capsule to partially outline irregular lobes and lobules. So the trabeculi lobulate the thyroid gland. Now the parenchyma, within those lobules, let's go back. Within these lobules, you can see these spherical structures. Those spherical structures are your thyroid follicles, okay? Now, these follicles, the parenchyma of each lobule consists of spherical masses called thyroid follicles, okay? Which measure about 0.2 to 1 millimeter. Now, follicular cells, now each follicle is usually lined by simple cuboidal to low columnar follicular cells, which usually rest on a basement membrane. Now, at the center of each that follicle, we have a gel-like acidophilic homogeneous material known as colloid. Colloid is simply iodinated thyroglobulin. What is thyroglobulin? Thyroglobulin is just a glycoprotein which is manufactured in the granular endoplasmic reticulum of the follicular cells. Okay, so once it is manufactured, the follicular cells exocytose it into the follicular cavity, where that thyroglobulin will be iodinated to form iodinated thyroglobulin, which is the colloid. Now, under H&E staining, the follicular cells usually show slightly basophilic cytoplasm and a single spherical nucleus with 1 to 2 nuclei, showing you that this manufacture of very many ribosomes. So in the interfollicular space usually contain numerous blood vessels, lymphatics, and connective tissue fibers. Let's see that. Now here, this spherical mass here is these spherical masses are your thyroid follicles. Now there you can see they are aligned by, these are your follicular cells. Okay, those are your follicular cells. Then this is the colloid, which is simply iodinated thyroglobulin. Okay. These are your follicular cells. Okay, now these follicular cells usually vary in shape depending on their level of the activity. Now, normally or at an average level of activity, the cells are usually cuboidal, like this. This is a moderately active, and the colloid in the follicles is moderate in amount. You can see they are cuboidal, and the amount of colloid here is moderate. Then, but when inactive, these follicular cells are squamous or flattened, and with the amount of colloid is very high. Okay, this. Then when highly active, the follicular cells become columnar. Okay, and the colloid becomes very scanty. Please remember the stages of the activity of the thyroid gland based on the shape of the follicular cells. So when they are squamous, that is inactive. When they are cuboidal, that is moderately active. When they are columnar, that is highly active. Please remember that. Now, how is thyroxine and triiodothyronine synthesized? It is synthesized in this way. First, there will be synthesis of thyroglobulin in follicular cells. Remember, thyroglobulin is just a glycoprotein, which is synthesized in the large endoplasmic reticulum or the granular endoplasmic reticulum. Then it is secreted into the follicular cavity via exocytosis. Okay. Then where it is usually after it has been secreted, it will undergo iodination. This is where iodine comes in. Now, when you take foods that are rich in iodine, such as iodinated salt, once it is in your blood, it will be taken up by the follicular cells. Okay, then it will undergo oxidation catalyzed by this enzyme thyroid peroxidase. Then once it has undergone oxidation, it is released into the follicular cavity or in the colloid. Now, once in the colloid, it will interact with the thyroglobulin and iodinate it. So there will be iodination of thyroglobulin. Once thyroglobulin is iodinated, it will form monoiodothyronine and diiodothyronine. Okay, so the thyroglobulin can be iodinated by one iodine molecule to form monoiodothyronine and by two iodine molecules to form diiodothyronine. Then these two will undergo oxidative coupling. They will combine, where if monoiodothyronine and diiodothyronine combine, they form triiodothyronine, your T3. Or if diiodothyronine combines with another diiodothyronine, they will form tetraiodothyronine, your T4 or your thyroxine. Then these are reabsorbed back into the they are absorbed back by the follicular cells from the colloid, and they are acted upon by lytic enzyme or the lysosomal proteases, okay, to release T3 and T4 in the circulation. You can see the ratio 20:1. So in fact, it should be 1:20 because T4 is the one which is released in very high amount. T3 is released in less amount, less than 10%. But once T4 reaches into the target organ, say the liver or the kidney, it is deiodinated to form T3, which is 5 times more active than T4. Okay, then while circulating, it is usually bound in the blood. T3 and T4, they are usually bound to the thyroxine binding protein or the thyroxine binding globulin. Please remember that. Then we have another cell type, the parafollicular cells. You can see there are these cells which are lining the follicles. Those are the follicular cells. Then we have other cells which are found in the interfollicular spaces, these. And you can see that their cytoplasm is somewhat clear. So from that clear, they are also known as the C cells. Okay. So parafollicular cells or the C cells, they are embedded within a follicle or between follicles. The parafollicular cells are polyhedral cells with oval eccentric nuclei. The cells are not exposed to the follicular lumen. Okay. They lie in single or in small clusters. They are usually very difficult to identify under light microscopy. Now, they secrete a hormone known as thyrocalcitonin or just calcitonin. This hormone has an action opposite to that of the parathyroid hormone on calcium metabolism. These hormones usually come into play when the serum calcium levels are high, and it tends to lower the calcium levels by suppressing the activity of the osteoclasts. Okay, so they suppress bone resorption and they promote calcium deposition by the osteoblast. Okay, they suppress bone desorption by the osteoclast and they promote calcium deposition into bones. So clinical correlations now, irrespective of the cause, okay, enlargement of the thyroid gland is called goiter. Irrespective of the cause, if the patient has an enlarged thyroid gland, that is goiter. Then we have the hyperthyroidism or thyrotoxicosis, which is the excessive production of thyroid hormones causing increased metabolism. What are some causes of the hyperthyroidism? We have the Graves' disease. Okay, it can also be caused by the multinodular goiter or toxic thyroid adenoma tumors. We also have the long-acting thyroid stimulator antibodies. Hypothyroidism, it is the inadequate production of thyroid hormone or tissue resistance for activity of thyroid hormone. Hypothyroidism during the infancy or childhood will cause cretinism, whereas in adulthood it will cause myxedema, which is mental and physical sluggishness, and the edema of connective tissue. Okay, what are some causes? It can be caused by iodine deficiency, which is the most common, and also Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is Hashimoto thyroiditis has been observed to be its prevalence is 7 times more in women than in men. So here we can do some summary. Here you can see this is the septa, these are septa, okay, and then within the septa you can see blood vessels, okay, and also there you'd also find the nerve bundles, lymphatics. Then here you can see spherical masses, those are your thyroid follicles. Then you can see they are aligned by these follicular cells, and you can tell that this is maybe an inactive thyroid gland, because you can see the amount of choroid is much, and you can see here the cells are they are squamous. Okay, then here you can see the parafollicular cells or the C cells. They have a pale cytoplasm and they produce calcitonin. Okay, so guys, we have come to the end of this session, and thank you for your attention, and please subscribe for more anatomy and biochemistry content. Thank you.